Guys, episode 16. How are you?
Lekker Brenty.
Lekker, man.
What a dreadful weekend for South African teams.
Dreadful doesn't even start to describe it.
I will jump into some detail now. We'll only do our URC round 14 review, and then I think we only have two subjects to discuss on news.
Yes, exciting subjects.
So, the first game we had Ulster versus Stormers, and I'm sure Timo as a Stormer, you've got a lot to say about it. I've got a lot to say about it, and I'm sure Brack will have somewhat to say about it.
Somewhat.
I don't know what I want to say about it because I haven't been this disappointed in a Stormers side in quite a long time. You know, they go there, their star studs are back, they have all the right things to annihilate Ulster, and they don't. And they get front football in the last 20 minutes of the game, and then brain surgeon Dobson goes and decides to put on Matea, which is probably the most defensive fly-half that we have in South African rugby at the moment. He doesn't play attacking rugby. So, I mean, just based on that, I don't know. It's definitely a coaching problem, and I know we're bashing the coaches and constantly bashing coaches and whatnot, and we shouldn't be doing that. But I can in the last 2 seasons, what has he done for Stormers rugby? We've bled players, and we're losing simple games that we should be winning. This was a game that we should have won, and we
100%.
We didn't.
Especially in the back end of the playoffs.
Look, simple things that didn't go away. Sasha's yellow card, I get that. But I mean, the tackle, the red card on the tackle. With Nietling, I don't know. So basically, what you need to do to win rugby matches is basically put your head forward, bend down, and just run with the ball because nobody's going to be able to tackle you.
Yeah. No, I've also got something to say about that. But yeah, I mean that was a stupid red card. But to me, there was 3 things that cost the Stormers this game. First was the referee, and we'll dive into some. We are South Africans. It's in our nature to complain about the referee, but I think even non-South Africans should have seen this. It was the cards and it was the discipline. Okay. I mean, if you look at it, at 10 minutes, the Stormers had a 17-0 lead. I mean, the Stormers, they started so well with an early try for Roos. Where Sasha puts Roos into space, Roos breaks the line and scores. Second try, Ben Loader gathers the ball from a botched Ulster pass and then bowled through to score. But then Jack Murphy, who I think looked brilliant, has to be said about the Ulster fly-off, kicks a long kick downfield from the halfway line. Damien Willemse misses, and after regathering the kick, he's under pressure, and he kicks the ball out into his own 22, which gives also a line out inside the Stormers 22. After a failed maul, Jack Murphy throws a monster pass to Rob Balakoon, who scores. Also the second try, you have to give it to Ulster. It was a well-worked, hard second try for Ulster. But then Sasha gives away that stupid yellow card that you just mentioned, where he takes the man out without the ball whilst chasing for a kick. The Ulster player Balakoon did dramatize it a bit. He was lying on the floor waiting for the ref to spot it, and Sasha could even be seen telling him to stand up. But what he did was a silly yellow card. He knew it. And Ulster actually scores twice from this, Ulster actually scored their third try from this, as they obviously go for the corner with the penalty. They had a monster maul, but the ball was short. They pass the ball outside. Loader has a monster tackle on the Ulster player, but then Murphy once again picks up the ball and scores. Jack Murphy, I mean, he had a massive game. Like I said, it has to be said. And that's 17-17 at half time. Then the second or the third Ulster try, happens. Was this the bonus point Ulster try? Actually, the fourth Ulster try happens just after halftime. Still with Sasha out, And then Jacob Stockdale scores Ulster's bonus point try. And also that also comes off a penalty from Damon Willems, which I think for a legal clean out, which I also think was a stupid penalty. I mean, it was nowhere near the head. They said to me it was just a simple clean out. It was cleaning the ruck. So I don't understand, but anyways, debatable. That's not the one that I'm upset about. The one that I'm most upset about is the one you've mentioned. Is Neetling Fusia who gets the dumbest red card I've ever seen. The ref even says there's no foul play. Play on, and then obviously the Irish crowd makes a massive noise. The Timo throws it up the screen. He shows exactly what he saw, but changes his decision. I mean, he was so low. If he was any lower, he was leopard crawling. Then other people arguing that there was no intention to rap. He raps. He literally raps. I mean, where should he have rapped more than How could it have been more clear? It was the stupidest red card I've ever seen. So yeah, and I think after these Ulster have been sort of led back into the game after the consecutive yellow and red cards and the penalties given away. Ulster obviously got a second breath, and that's where the momentum shifted. Sasha was brilliant. Has to be said. Sasha was very, very good. Except for that yellow card, he had two beautiful drop goals. He had 2 try assists. He had that beautiful 50-22 on the 37th minute. And I don't know, to me, I mean, we spoke about it before. Maybe we can dive a bit deeper into it now. But Sasha's my guy for that Springbok 10 jersey, and I've said it before, and I still believe it. If you look at Andre Pollard, who's a very strategic player, and then you look at Manie Libbok, who's a very attacking player. He's very loose, he does those no-look kicks, crossfield kicks. I feel like Sasha's got the best of both worlds. Really does. He's brilliant off the tee. He's not scared to take chances. He's a very physical player, a very clever player. I mean, he put 2 players into space and have them score tries in this game. So to me, Sasha is our Springbok 10.
Yeah, I can see where you come up with that. Look, we discussed this a little bit before the show, and our conclusion is that at the moment where I feel the Stormers in the Shark zone, we'll touch on all the Shark stuff in a bit. But for me, I wouldn't pick a Springbok out of either the Sharks or the Stormers at the moment, to be brutally honest. I wouldn't even touch the Lions for Springbok contention at the moment. The only team that has been consistently performing has been the Bulls. Yes, last weekend the Leinster shocker, and they still got the result out of that. And I mean, now you're looking at the Stormers. Yes, Sasha was looking good, but then Sasha was surrounded by a bunch of below average players. So it's easy to then look good. The Stormers are looking very average. They barely holding on. I don't know. Is somebody even going to call time of death on John Dobson at some point? I mean, is how far does it need to fall before whoever there is needs to wake up, or is that guy, like we discussed in previous episodes, just that good at bullshitting his way into the coaching position all the time? The Stormers are not performing. The Union is battling, but they keep on going with this. And then every time the camera goes onto him, he looks like he doesn't have an idea where he is. He looks like he's just woken up out of a nap, or his Prozac has worn off. I don't know. But he needs to go. he needs to go.
Yeah, you see, I'm going to disagree with you at one part where you said of the players not choosing him for the spring. I don't think it's a player problem. I mean, you look at last season where the Sharks got destroyed. They're still getting destroyed, but even worse than they're getting destroyed now. And then the majority of those players went and played for the Springboks, and they played so well. I think the problem that we've got in our 4 unions is a coaching problem, and I'll dive deep into the problem I got with John Plumtree and all of that. But if you look at it, our base coaches are playing across overseas. We've got Johan van Graan who does Bath, and Bath is, if I'm not mistaken, in the top of the Premiership at the moment. We've got Franco Smith at Glasgow, who's playing for, who's coaching Glasgow Warriors, who really put a line to the sword. We'll get to that later as well. And actually has won a URC last season. So we need to get some of those. Johan Ackerman, I know Johan Ackerman is back in Cape Town. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing. We need to get those players back into our URC teams. We've got brilliant players. We've made a hype video and mentioned all the time about how good the Lions can be. They've got so many young, exciting players. I never expected them to win against Glasgow, but to get smashed by 40 points, that's only after half time. Something needs to change. Somewhere, something needs to change. Damien Willems was called for me.
Yeah, I think he's got some path to recovery at the moment, and he's definitely not on form yet. But he doesn't look as bad as the replacements that were there, for him. So, but I think this weekend, we're doing this podcast, all of us a bit bruised, except for Bracky. His team was on top of it.
Solid,
So but it's still not fun though. Still not fun seeing all the other South African teams suffer like this, especially the way they have suffered. I mean, it's not even like it's not like a little bit of a flesh wound. It's a massive gash in the entire South African team pool, and it's still sad, dude. It's still sad. Even though the Bulls did good, I'm still quite sore after the day we had yesterday.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good day. Like Brent, you mentioned in the beginning of the show, it wasn't a good day for South African rugby.
No, depressing.
And I'm gonna call it out again. I just feel that with the amount of Springboks that both the Stormers and the Sharks have currently in their sides, those performances are unacceptable.
100%. Welle Engelbrecht looked very good. I like him. He came off the bench. He was wearing the 20 jersey, I think. And I remember that game in Toulon. He also scored a beautiful try. Stormer's third try. And I remember that game against Toulon in the Champions Cup and Toulon just brought the physicality in Cape Town. And I felt like the Stormers were really missing that physicality. And I thought that Welle Engelbrecht, who was playing in the 8 jersey that day, I thought he was looking very, very, very good. And even this game, he really showed his class. I don't think he was called up to the alignment camp, but I think it's a very big loss for us. He really is. He's still young. There's going to be a lot of time for him, and also one of the positions that are very hotly contested in South Africa. But I think eventually we will see him in a Springbok shirt. Maybe not a regular starter, but he'll be there. He'll definitely be there.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, but I'm still bruised about that. And but let's move on to the next one.
Edinburgh Dragons. So nothing unexpected here. Dragons have won one game in the URC, and they were playing Edinburgh at home. Edinburgh 38, Dragons 5. I didn't watch this game. It was on consecutively. I should have probably just switched over, but it was on consecutively with the Stormers game.
Yeah, no, like we said, nothing unexpected there. Not much that we can say about that because we couldn't watch the game. And the highlights just basically shows the scoreline. It was a dry fest for Edinburgh, so winning by 33 points. Nothing out of the ordinary there. So
but a bonus point. Look, well done.
I don't think it meant a lot in the log standings for Edinburgh. In the big picture, because they did move up to 8th. I get that, but at the moment, from 5th place all the way to 13th now, there's a 6-point difference. That's and we're at that time of the season now where I always want to say I feel that the Lions, Zebra, and the Dragons are most certainly not going to reach the top 8. The Lions are on 30 log points and 8th position is 36. The Lions are now in that position where they need to rely on other teams to mess up.
100%.
For them to get there, and I feel the Stormers are barely holding on. You know, it's like when you gash your knee open and there's just that skin is just like attached to that like little piece of skin. That's where the Stormers are at the moment.
The Stormers are barely holding on. The Lions are not making it. And you look at the Sharks in 4th position, you think, how the fuck did they get there? But
everybody is thinking that, and it's like they cemented it because they, you know, they line 4th with 45 points, and below them is Munster, and they've only got 39, so they're also 6 points behind. So even a bonus point win for Munster wouldn't take them ahead of the Sharks, you know. So I feel that the top 4 teams, and although the Sharks have had a bit of a dismal couple of weeks, you know, compared, they've still only lost 5 games.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, we'll get to this the Sharks now. The next game was Bulls versus Zebra, your team, Bracky. I thought, although the Bulls did look very good, you know, they did struggle to find their feet or to find a rhythm before running away with the game. I mean, they are missing some big names, but eventually they got the job done convincingly.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like in the beginning, it's an old thing about the Bulls. Well, I say old thing because like when I was still on school, I watched them, and the old thing that they used to do, we would all joke about it, is they would wait until second half before they look like they were trying to get something done. You know, that's when the scores will be actually updated on their side. So yeah, I didn't get to watch the full match, but I did watch the highlights, and it looked very good to me. They were on form. Well, yeah, second half they were on form. First half they looked like a bunch of headless chickens, to be honest. But defense was solid for me, and I think they stole like 2 or 3 balls, which led to either a massive try or just winning so much ground that the other team couldn't keep up. So yeah, I'm actually a bit proud of them, but I'm very sad that I didn't have that much faith in them because I thought they were going to win by like 4 points, and they stretched it out of the ballpark completely.
Well, the Bulls are.
So yeah, don't worry, Bracky. We had faith in your team because I got maximum points on Super Brew thanks to your team.
Well done.
And you know, my wife and I were actually talking about it while we were looking at the Super Brew, and I was still saying, no ways that the team, I think the Bulls are going to win this with 40 points. And I was on the 50th minute, and I think the Bulls were like, they were ahead, but not that much. And then all of a sudden, the Bulls just opened up, and LZ just said, they must be on the same Super Brew, and they must have some agreement with Timo.
Yeah, no, look,
right.
The only game that I was excited to watch this weekend, and I did catch the full Bulls game. Look, they looked good. They really looked good. Ambrose Papier was looking good when he came on. You know,
Sergio Peterson.
Sergio Peterson. It's such a pity that he's just too old a bit now.
Yeah.
Because he's still such a consistent performer for me. I've always been a big fan of Sergio Peterson, and that Bull scrum though. That Bull scrum, you know, you could almost feel the stadium shake when Wilco Low ran onto the field. Just that guy is a unit.
Yes, he's a massive one.
Yeah, you won't be able to fit in a Picanto. But no, you know, Zebra were already struggling. With all the Ferraris and Porsches and what in the scrum, they were struggling. And then
against the buckets.
In the first half, and then you know, the Bulls sent up all the, you know, their bomb squad, so to say. But and then it was just sad after that for Zebra because you know they couldn't even take the hit. I mean they lost a meter to a meter and a half on the hit. You know, so I'm looking forward to seeing Wilco Low and the rest of that Bulls front row getting some Springbok time.
100%.
And at the moment, if I compare them, for example, to our traditional Springbok players that are in the front row, I think guys like Vincent Koch and Oaks and those guys should probably take some notes. You know, watch the Bulls games, take some notes. And I mean, they've been dominating every scrum, and there's a lot of scrums that I feel where, you know, the Springbok players battled a bit. But the Bulls have just been destroying in the scrums.
Very consistent.
Yes.
Consistent,
But also, you know, if you have a 140 kilogram prop, that's bought like a RDP shithouse. What else do you expect?
Zach Berger also looked very good for me. I mean, he scored Bulls' second try, beautiful try. He pulled a little Jaden Hendricks on himself and passed the ball purposefully to to get the penalty. But then caught Zebra napping and regathered the ball. He hands off that Zebra player just in front of the try line and scores. Beautiful try, Zach Berger. Obviously, it's actually such a pity that Emrys Papier, who's also in beautiful form, always sort of behind him. Jay van Heerden looked very good. He got a silly yellow card for pushing that Zebra player. You can see that Italy are a very big soccer nation. They love milking penalties by lying on the ground and winning Oscars. But yeah, that was a bit of a hectic one where Jay van Heerden literally took on the whole Zebra team. As good as the Bulls are looking, and as bad as the Sharks and defense was last weekend, there is something that we have to say, and that's, I think Zebra's attack is looking very good. I mean, you look at the first two tries that Zebra scored, very very good tries. I think Zebra, if you compare this Zebra team to maybe a few seasons ago, it's a different. I mean, isn't as far as I know, Zebra is on the verge of bankruptcy. They're busy closing down. That they just they used to be regarded as the worst team in the URC, and now it's the Dragons and then them. But I mean, that attack is really looking very very good. So obviously not a top tier team yet, but with the right coach, I think some of those players can really become stars.
Yeah, look, we discussed that in the Six Nations as well. The Italian teams just don't have. It's like they just don't have that extra thing.
Yeah.
And it shows with the Zebra thing, because I mean, at some stage it was like watching a Rocky movie. They were going pound for pound with the Bulls. The Bulls scored,
100%.
The Bulls score, Zebra scores. The Bulls score, Zebra scores. The Bulls score, Zebra scores, and it went back and forth like that. And I was like, can you guys get to 40? Because I'm not going to hear the end of this pick if you guys don't get close to 40.
Well, they had that prayer, yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know. It was just like the Damo breaks, but that's the same thing. I mean, and like I mentioned now, Six Nations against Ireland, Italy was brutal, and I just think that it comes down to that. I think they just need that bit of confidence, Yeah, and it 100%. Comes down to the thing of, if you're constantly losing matches, you start growing a losing mentality in your side.
100%.
So when your fans go to a match expecting you to lose, you go to a match expecting you to lose. Your coach is coaching you basically to not lose by too much. Yeah, that's a problem. You need to go in with a winning mentality. Italy is a top 10 nation at the moment. In world rankings. There's no excuse for them to not have confidence in themselves and 100%. And push their club rugby, especially the guys playing in the URC and whatnot. Push the guys. I feel that their rugby union or their government or however that works with them should seriously look at Zebra and go like, we need to invest here. We need to save this club from sinking, because from your perspective, yes,
they're showing some signs. Yeah,
they haven't had the best season in the sense, but in a perfect world, they are at the moment 9 points outside of the top 8. So it's not like they didn't hold on or fight for the top 8 spot. I just think you're playing against teams stacked with Irish players. You're playing against teams stacked with Springbok players. You're playing against teams stacked with Scottish players, and the same with Welsh. And for them to lie 15th, second last on the log, but in actual fact still pretty much being in contention for a top 8 spot if everything goes their way, does say a lot, because they're not lying, second last or 15th on the URC log and didn't perform, because they've got 27 log points. I mean, the Lions on 14 have 30, so they're 3 points behind the Lions. They're 6 points behind Connacht, which is stacked with Irish players, and it's a very rounded team. You've got Ospreys. I mean, if you look at the Stormers, they're 8 points behind the Stormers. That's 2 bonus point victories. If they win their next 2 matches with bonus points and the Stormers lose, they're ahead of the Stormers.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of heart. They have a lot of heart. The Zebra team. Not just their acting skills, but they do have a lot of heart.
Yeah, but the acting skills, I have to say, is a European thing. It's not just the
100%,
Italians.
100%.
And we saw it in a couple of matches. Guy gets tapped on the shoulder and is holding his face like somebody hit him with an aluminium baseball bat in the face. Yeah, they really need to chill out on that.
Marco van Staden looked very good. Fuck how good he's. I always say that, and I get a lot of flack for saying it because he does have butterfingers sometimes, and he does drop the ball, probably more than he should. But he's such a physical unit. He's not the biggest guy, but he just sometimes looks like someone just saw his mother and he's out in the field to beat the shit out of you. I mean, he scored a try. He scored a brilliant try. Had a beautiful line break. Marco van Staden, he really is. He had a good game, and I'm so happy that he's got in his Springbok debut, and I'm hoping to see more of him in the Springbok shirt actually. So yeah.
Yeah, no, well, definitely, he makes me think of that Gimli character in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
he's just like everywhere, and he's solid, and he's always looking. He's like a hunter.
He's awake,
yeah. But no, it's GG for the Bulls. Well done, and thanks for getting to that 39 points, and allowing me to get full points on Super Brew, because the rest of my weekend was shit. Yeah.
All right, then we had Munster. You go for it.
Yeah, Munster Connacht. That was also not out of the ordinary. I actually think that Connacht pushed it a bit closer than I thought they would, though.
Yeah, I also thought so.
I thought that even though it was home, being two Irish sides, there's not really home field advantage. Ireland is about as big as a brick. So it wasn't really home ground. It was basically like, driving down the road and playing in just an other park. Other parky. But yeah, Connacht did a lot better than I thought that they would. But obviously Munster, showing their quality in being where they are in the log at the moment. That they deserve to be in fifth position by getting a away result against Connacht. So all credit where it's due.
Munster also had 2 yellow cards and a red card.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I say. Also didn't watch that because it was running alongside another game. So yeah, it wasn't the worst game to watch. I did watch the replays of it, and in general, I feel Munster's probably going to go through to the top 8 inevitably.
Deservedly. They're like the Stormers. If you think about it, they're a team that's not where they should be. The Stormers are supposed to be a top tier team, and so is Munster. Munster is our previous URC winners, and I think they're getting a bit neglected by IRFU. Everyone is not Leinster. Obviously the whole budget goes into Leinster. I don't know what the system works like, but I think Munster and Connacht and even Ulster, there's a bit more attention needed there. They should be performing a lot better than they are.
If they could harness those teams and have the bigger pool to pull out of, like we pull from each union, and they can do the same thing. They'll have a much stronger Irish side, that wouldn't 100%. Lose, but that wouldn't just beat Italy in the Six Nations. Yeah. So yeah, no, definitely Irish problem. So it's not ours, but good luck to them. I hope you sort it out. This is the other game that I watched. Yes, I decided to watch this because it was two teams that were closer on the log for me, and Scarlets pull the rabbit out of the hat on this one.
Yeah, LSM looked good.
I didn't see that coming though. Yes, LSM proved why he was called up to the Wales team.
Yeah, 100%. He looked good,
and he did look good. Yes.
Blair Murray wasn't that hot for me. I actually, we hyped him up so much during the Six Nations, and I just feel like he was missing a few shots. Good players have bad games, but yeah.
No, it was, but also again, the result isn't as out of it as we thought. I know on Super Brew, 70% of the people that predicted that the Ospreys would win it. And it just shows you the Scarlet. I think the Scarlets used the home ground advantage better and ended up getting the result that they needed. Even though it probably the biggest result for that victory was basically them just swapping places on the log. So, you know, I mean that's literally how that changed it. And even now they tied, so they're both on 33 points.
I mean, a points difference, isn't it?
Yeah, the points difference is putting the Scarlets ahead, which they've got a positive 20, and the Ospreys have a negative 13. So well done on the Scarlets there. So all the teams, basically, this was one of those weekends where you just picked against the opposite of what we picked, and you would have had a flawless round on Super Bro. All right, and then we go into the big one. Your team, Brenty.
This game frustrated. So I have a little notebook with me while watching rugby, because obviously what happens in the first few minutes you forget by the time the game is finished. I must just make notes for the podcast. I'm telling you, I threw that notebook to the ground so many times during this games.
You look like one of the coaches, Renzi.
Talking about the coaches, the Sharks have a massive coaching problem. If you think about it, they have one of the most dangerous backlines, and we still chose Yao at 15. Yao Penke was very, very bad. You know, I think he had 4 landing errors, and crucial ones. There was one where he literally had to just walk over the line to score, and he knocks the ball on. So now you're putting this guy at the back line on the fullback, your last line of defense, having to catch those eyeballs, and he's. Well, I don't know why you would not put Jordan Hendricks on 15, and you've got what's the other 10? Masuku on the bench. That's how we've been playing it since Fassi's been injured. Why not play it the same way? Yao Penke is a bad player. Now you're playing him out of position, you know. And shit. If you not just that, if you look at the Sharks team on paper, you know. They should have smashed the Leinster C team that Leo Cullen sent to the Shark Tank by 30-40 points. I think he was more shocked than we were that they won that game. You know, I mean, I'm fairly certain that they just sent some team down, obviously with the exception of Argus Sam and Jordy Barrett, who wasn't even playing against the Sharks. You know, and just knew that if they lose this game or both these games in South Africa, they'd still be top on the log. You know, so that was like really a bonus for them, you know. The Sharks, they worked on the defense. The defense looked much better. And now the attack is very flat, you know. So, I mean, can we not just have one without the other one being a problem? You know, and this is a dangerous backline. You look at Andre Esterhuizen, who looks very good. He returned from injury now. He looks very, very good. You got Jordan Hendricks. You got Jerenzo Julius. You got Ethan Hooker, who's probably one of the hottest up and comers. You know, Mapimpi, who's in brilliant form. How are we getting smashed? How are we getting smashed by Leinster? You know. And before, I know it's 3 points difference. It's 3 points difference from a C team, a Leinster C team. Somewhere we need to start asking ourselves questions. What is the Sharks coaching team doing? You know, I love John Plumtree, you know, but he's not the right team, the right man for this team. You look at how many Springboks you've got in this team, probably more than any of the other 4 nations.
That's the problem, right? If you break it down, you've got 4 players in your scrum that started. You know, you had your front row, plus you had Sia. Okay, you've got a Springbok pairing in the back line at 9 and 10. You've got your wing is a Springbok. You've got Andre Esterhuizen, which is
Andre Esterhuizen,
yes,
in impeccable form,
which is a Springbok. Okay, Jerenzo Julius just came out of being from the junior books. Okay, he's not a Springbok yet, but he's definitely going to be one. Probably the artist outside center that we've got at the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Hooker is probably going to be a Springbok as well. So in your back line already, you know, you've got 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's 4 players. That's Springboks.
Yeah, 100%.
And you've got 4 players in your scrum. That's starting. That's just starting. That's 8 players out of 15 starting. And they don't look like Springboks at the moment.
No.
And I agree. I agree with that. Is that Like you mentioned, the dangerous backline. I saw, Jordan probably kick 412 up and unders in that game. And I was just sitting there and I was like, why? Why are you doing this? And no offense to Jaden,
he's not in form.
No, you're slow. It looks like the lactic acid started building up on the 12th second of that match.
Yeah, that stupid yellow card.
Yeah, it really. And okay, I understand. Okay, Grant Williams is not available right now and whatnot. But Jaden's definitely not looking good. Andre Esterhuizen definitely gonna. I would pick him above the Islander at the moment. For that number 12 jersey for the Boks. I just think he's solid on his attack. He gets meters. He's solid on his defense. And if I had to put my head on a block, I would probably play Jesse Kill from the bench and run with the Esterhuizen Julius center combination. The problem is your forward pack is letting you down because your backline isn't getting the clean ball that they need, and it is showing because that's why you've got your flyers are kicking up and unders, it's almost like the Sharks started playing Bulls rugby, where they rely on the up and under, kick and chase, hope the other team makes a mistake and whatnot. And it's not working. It's not the play style of the Sharks, Jordan got his Springbok colours for doing what? For kicking up and unders. No, Jordan got his Springbok colours for being alongside Sasha, probably two of the most attacking fly-offs that we've probably seen available for the Springboks in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And you're expecting him to play a game he can't play.
Yeah. You see, the Sharks had a lot of good opportunities to score. They just made so many errors, and I feel like, honestly, I'm very, very worried about. You look at where they're standing at the log. They're fourth in the log. And you think to yourself, how did they get there? I mean, if they're playing, we can't even blame it on injuries anymore. They've got so many injured players, except obviously Fassi and Eben Etzebeth. But still, I mean, there's a lot of teams with a lot more injured players than that. How are we? I'm losing my mind just thinking about how we are losing or how we lost that game and almost lost to Zebra the weekend before. The Sharks need to go back into the thinking tank, and they need to start. They obviously need to do something. They need to start from scratch completely because what they are doing, is not working. They've got Edel van der Merwe starting with us next season, so probably, hopefully, we'll never see Openg in the Shark shirt again. But I can guarantee you, even with Edwell being a massive boost to that shot already. A dominant Sharks backline will still get smashed by stupid teams. The problem is not the players. I think the problem starts on the top because you'll take this pool of players, you put them in Springbok jerseys with Rassie Erasmus, and they'll smash any team in front of them. So to me, I honestly feel like we need to relook at and have got such a big budget. Come on, the Sharks have so much money. Please buy Franco Smith. Buy Johan Ackerman, Johan van Graan. Bring them back home, Yeah. Anyways, before I carry on for another hour. But James Venter looked good, I get a lot of flack for him, but I mean, he was very good, especially on defense. He had 16 tackles and he only played 60 minutes. James Venter, and that's a player that we're losing, that's going to the English squad, Max Deegan, he looks very, very good. I think he was man of the match as well. That's the lines that I made. I saw him after the game jumping into the pool, then the Shark Tank afterwards, and I thought, you know what, he probably deserves that. But yeah, I don't know what else to say about the Sharks team. Go back, rethink how you're going to do it. But honestly, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. That team on paper should not be losing to a Leinster C team. They should be challenging a Leinster A team. So
they should be. I agree with you. They should be on the log there. Where Leinster is sitting on 62 points. I would understand the Sharks maybe sitting on second with like 61 points. I just feel, and this is not me bashing the Sharks, really. It's not, because I feel that, my team didn't have the best weekend either. But, with all the Springboks that you have, this is not an acceptable performance against a unrecognizable Leinster team.
100%. And it's not, before we move on to the next game, because I can carry on for hours, it's not that we have Bulls Springboks, ones with 1 or 2 caps or below 10 caps, like the Lions, and they've got seasoned Springboks here. We've got Oxenchair, Bongi Munambi, who probably still is our first choice hooker, until someone takes that shirt from which will happen soon. Vincent Koch, Mapimpi who scored the first ever try in a Springbok in a World Cup final for the Springboks. It's embarrassing. It's really, really embarrassing. They should be doing much better.
Yeah, I mean, even Jaden and Jordan, they should have been playing rugby together. In the backyard and stuff, and they looked like they didn't know each other, man. It was really bad.
It's very really bad. And heads need to roll for this. Heads need to roll for this. I mean, this is South Africans are very, very. We like to criticize our teams when they do bad, but this is not one of those moments where they lost the game. This was a game that they should have won, and they should have won it convincingly. Like I said before. I'm fairly certain Leo Cullen got the shock of his life when they won this game.
No, you see, it comes down to that. For us, rugby is a family thing, right? It's something that we do together with our families and stuff. And when we
our culture,
when we put on our supporter jerseys or start supporting our teams, the Sharks for you, the Stormers for me, and so on. They're family members, And much like with my family members, if you do good, there's going to be praise, and if you do shit, there's going to be, consequences and stuff. That's just how it is, The Sharks aren't performing, the Stormers aren't performing. We can say, okay, it's not the players. Fine, it's not the players, okay, but then where's the problem? Because then we come back to the coaches. I think Plumtree has been a problem at the Sharks for about 19 seasons, and he hasn't even been there 19 seasons. And John Dobson, really, I think the guy needs to go on retirement. He looks tired. Just go on retirement, rest a bit, go coach some Yexkay or rollball, and rather leave rugby to guys that can still do it.
100%. Well, you see, so once again, before we move on, you see, they brought back Plumtree, because obviously Sharks were probably in the heyday when he coached them before. But I mean, if you look through. And there's multiple examples you can use. You never bring back a coach. Look at Warren Gatland. Warren Gatland was a coach of Wales when Wales were in their prime. When they won 2 Six Nations, and we were praising him before he left. And look what happened when he came back. You don't bring back a coach. There is so many South African coaches. Even Peterson in the Currie Cup did much better coaching. Okay, it's not the same level. I understand that. But the Sharks look better in the Currie Cup with a much shitter team that they've got now. With a much more unrecognized coach. Than Plumtree. So I know Plumtree is probably a very good coach. And I've got a lot of respect for the guy, but he's not our guy. Please. Heads need to roll for this. This is embarrassing, and honestly, I don't even know what to say about it anymore.
Okay, and on that note, let's move on. Bennett and Cardiff. Bennett and Cardiff, pretty much the result we expected it to be.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to say with that, it was, Cardiff made it a lot closer than we thought. Yeah. So, but another clash that there's not really much to say about.
Yeah, I'm chuffed with Benetton though. I mean, we always talk about the Italian team or the Italian teams that are sort of on the rise, and Benetton's a very good example of that. I mean, Benetton's 7th on the log. And they've had some good wins. They really have had some good wins. If you look at so they beat Cardiff now. They beat Edinburgh a bit more convincingly last weekend. They only lost to Connacht. They were playing away. They beat Ulster. They smashed Ulster. And then they beat La Rochelle in the Champions Cup. At home. So to me, Benetton are one of those teams that has the potential to do a lot better or to be a lot higher in that ranking than what they are. But yeah, well done, Benetton. I've always said that they're a lot better than they get credit for.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with that. It's definitely Benetton top 7. Let's hope, because I don't know if there's ever been an Italian side in the top 8 when it comes to playoffs.
I think Benetton made it last season. We'll double
Was
check.
it?
I might be wrong.
Yeah, we'll
I might be wrong.
need to double check that. But let's hope it, because if Benetton is up there, and Cardiff pulls a rabbit out of the hat, then we've got one team of each of the representing countries in the top 8.
100%.
And
100%.
that would be fantastic for the URC.
Yeah. As far as I know, Benetton are even still in the Champions Cup, and that's none of the South African teams are. I'll just have to double check.
There was a big debate about that.
Yeah,
with
they
the
are.
South
They
African,
are still.
with the South African teams not playing their full strength sides and not taking the Challenge Cup and the EPCR series and whatnot. But moving on to the last one, which is I don't really want to say anything about this. I think I stopped watching the match on minute 12, to be brutally honest, because at that stage I was just like, nah, fuck it, I can't deal with more heartache and pain, because the Lions is my second team, because I am from the region, so and I was just sitting there and I'm like, no, I really can't do this, twice in a weekend, and 42-0, we've said this, Lions are our worst touring side. They'd never toured this badly, but then again, playing Glasgow in Scotland, full strength Glasgow in Scotland.
It comes down to what you were saying before, where if you look at Zebra, or not Zebra, just the fact that there's a losing mentality in certain teams, and I think it's the same for winning mentality. And I think Franco Smith is the difference. Franco Smith sort of made this Glasgow Warrior team become a team that has that winning mentality, that went to Loftus in the finals when Loftus were the favorite to win the Bulls were the favorite to win the URCs, and sort of took that game and won it. Who is still second in the log. I think they're still second in the log. Who smashed the Lions and keep the Lions. I don't know what's more impressive, the fact that they've scored 6 tries against them, or the fact that they were able to keep Lions out and not have the Lions score any tries against them. And that 42-0, all those tries were scored in the first half. So there was no points in the second half. So either Glasgow put their foot off the gas, or the Lions just got very good at defense. But anyways, I also only watched until the first half, and I thought, yes, this is just a puck slide that I can't handle after all our South African teams are losing, obviously except for the Bulls. But this is definitely a Franco Smith result.
Yeah, I think the problem with the Lions are a bit like the South African Zebra, right? It's a union that doesn't have a lot of supporters going to the matches. It's a union that's feeding a lot of the other clubs. I mean, like you mentioned now, with Edwin van der Merwe going to the Sharks.
Leaving.
I mean, and you've got the inside center, Lau, who's leaving. They're bleeding a lot of players. So next season, it's a rebuild season for them again, because they now need to find a new inside center. They need to find a replacement wing, and you look at other players. They've got Frankie Horn, who's very good. They've got Hlabakanya, who's very good. They've got Wayne Horn at fullback, who's very good.
Henko van Wyk, Mornay van der Berg.
They're gonna be bleeding, because we need to look at it now. The Stormers' best prospect to move forward would be to say, okay, look, I think the Stormers could probably benefit from acquiring a center. And probably
Henko van Wyk.
I would probably say a scrum off, but it is what it is, and the Lions are always they're a fighting team. They play 80 minutes. I just think that it's not on the cards for them this season. There's been too many problems.
Yeah. Very disappointing results all around. Bracky is smiling, but the rest of us are not. I think let's end off with some news. Okay, so once again, we've only have 2 news articles to go through. The first one, and we've asked Timo very nicely before the podcast, is be nice. So the first one is Rachel Khaleesi is actually taking the Khaleesi Foundation to CCMA after we heard
This can't be true.
yeah, no, well, we were told that it was sort of a mutual separation, and but Rachel Khaleesi actually says she was forced out of the Khaleesi Foundation. According to her, it was she doesn't say Sia Khaleesi per se, but she says that her employers made it almost impossible for her to work there, and that's why she resigned.
Yeah, because of a inoperable working environment, she says in one of the questioning that the reporters went into questioning, which is very weird because they didn't find out. No one found out that she was going to step down from the position at Sia Khaleesi. We found out through others media sources, Instagram, one of her what are the places, the give back, the community places posted a
NGOs,
goodbye.
NGO.
There we go. Yeah, they posted something on Instagram. That's how we find out that she is leaving and stepping down. So this is very weird that all of a sudden now it is coming out that she's taking them to the CCMA and stuff. It's just I don't know. It's tricky. I'm kind of curious to hear what Timmy's perspective is on this.
Yeah, so let's
I'm
get
not
this,
curious yet.
let's get this into perspective, okay? So she married a rugby player. He became probably the best captain that we've had in the Springbok side.
Definitely the best captain, yes.
They did some stuff, they had some kids, they started a foundation, right? And then they separate, and he doesn't want to part of the foundation anymore because it is the Khaleesi Foundation, not the Rachel show. And now she's taking them to CCMA. Yes, next week, next year, you're gonna have after the next World Cup, you're gonna have Chasing the Sun 3. That's gonna be fantastic. And just after that, you're gonna have the daily lives of Sia and Rachel, and it's gonna take us through a whole journey through their lives, and stuff like that. I feel that this is a problem for rugby, and she could have stayed on as CEO. The thing is, when she and Sia separated, there's no backing, because he doesn't have to have her back as the CEO anymore. So that fell away. Now all of a sudden people realize that probably, and this is what I'm going to go with on this, that she really didn't do a lot.
to me, we don't know what happened in the background, and I don't really care what happened. As long as it doesn't affect our rugby, sort it out. Just get it sorted out. We need Sia Khaleesi for the next World Cup. He's my captain. He's our captain, and I hope this doesn't affect him too much. We don't know what's going on in the background at the Sia Khaleesi Foundation, but whatever it is, there's a lot more serious things we need to worry about, like rugby. So get it sorted. The second one, to cut Timo off before it gets any worse, the second one is Leinster up Springbok. So basically Leinster want Damien Willems when Jordy Barrett goes back from his sabbatical. So we know that Leinster don't have any World Cup players of their own, so they have to import them. World Cup winners of their own, so they have to import them. So it looks like Damien Willems is next on their endless budget's radar.
Okay, so 3 episodes ago, I was sitting and we played the video clip where the two Irish, I don't want to call them pundits because they didn't know what they were talking about, was saying, how bad all the stuff is for Leinster and how far back it has put Leinster.
Ireland, yes.
Yes, and I had to listen to these two rant on about it and try to figure out what they were saying and whatnot because they didn't talk any sense. And then Leinster turns around and chases a Springbok center fly off fullback. So I don't understand the logic. I think what Ireland need to go do is Ireland need to go develop their own players and need to stop using the players. And because what is the point of this going to be for the international team? Or for the provincial team. What are they achieving? What are they achieving by this? I know Jordy Barrett was there on a sabbatical. I get that, and he's probably going back, and I think he's so thankful he's going back because you're on top of the log, but you still have to play with the Irish people though, and I get that they would probably want to replace him with somebody better, and that would probably be Damien. But I do feel that, Leinster, you've already got all the Irish players in your side, so just go develop your own players a little bit, maybe, and show the world that you can. Before Damian Willemse gets blamed for your inadequacies and why you're not performing.
Yeah, you see, I actually agree with you what you're saying. About developing a lot of their own players. Before the Irish say we only have 5 million people in the country, we don't have the big pool that South Africa has got. You've got so many players in your other unions that looked so well, not just over this weekend, but overall. Who's not really getting a shot in the Irish jersey. So we got like Michael Lowry, who he's 26 years old, and I thought he looked brilliant at fullback for Ulster. And maybe he needs a few Irish caps. I think he's got one only. He needs a few to sort of take his game to the next level. Leave the ex All Blacks or the All Black washouts alone and look within. Look at Jack Murphy. I don't know where Jack Murphy's from originally, but he looked very, very good as well for Ulster. So there is a lot of young players coming through that I honestly think that they should look at, and I feel like can really bolster their Irish team.
Yeah, they don't understand that. They're going to try and play. After the Six Nations, I can't remember all the names, but they're going to probably try and play, their players until they're 90. The Irish have a very weird rugby mentality for me. It's like I said, the country's as big as a brick and they want to boast about it. So, yeah, for me, it's neither here nor there. I don't think Damien Willemse would go to an Irish team. And if he does, he's dead to me. So, then I don't want to see him in a Springbok jersey. I don't even want to see him now. I wouldn't even allow him to wear a supporter jersey when he retires, No, but I think it's a stupid chase. It surprises me that they're not chasing Aki. You know, because then they've got the whole Irish side in one club.
I actually saw John Dobson's response to this, and apparently he said no, they can't have Damien, but he's more than happy to allow Manie Libbok to go take a sabbatical. I like Manie Libbok, but I think that Sasha's really making a statement for that 10 jersey, and I think he's a bit worried too, because as far as I know, Manie Libbok is back from injury, but he's not getting chosen. I think obviously Sasha is sort of taking that jersey from him.
I think we've had this discussion as well in the past. Players need to put themselves in the best position to become box. Okay, Manie played for the Blue Bulls. He was nowhere near box contention.
100%,
because it wasn't his play style.
Yeah.
Okay. Then Manie went to the Stormers. It suits his play style a bit more. Okay, and then he didn't.
Yeah.
Because you've got Warwick Galant running into the back line. You've got, there's a lot of differences, going from the Bulls to the Stormers. I actually honestly think that if I was Manie Libbok and I could actually fix my career, get my kicking up to par and get into Springbok contention again, is he needs to go to the Emirates Lions. He needs to go where he can play under kicking coach Morné Steyn. And he can actually play a brand of rugby that he likes to play. Because the Lions are going to play that flat-out attacking rugby where his cross kicks and his dummy passes and his lines and everything will just work perfectly. And I don't want to lose him. Don't get me wrong. I don't want him to go away from the Stormers because he is good. But I really just think for his career, the best move would be to go to the Lions. Yeah. And then obviously, like I mentioned, playing under Morné Steyn, it will definitely resolve his kicking.
Yeah, I just don't think the Lions
master.
I just don't think the Lions can afford him. But I like Manie Libbok a lot. I really do. But how can you compare it to Sasha Feinberg-Mngomezulu, who I think is definitely the best 10 in the world. Not in South Africa, in the world. He was riddled with injuries this season, so he hasn't really gotten the praise that he deserves. But how old is he now? 22 years old. This guy is just the best of both worlds when it comes to strategic play and to attacking play, and he just knows how to do both very good, very, very good. So yeah, guys, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's it from me. I don't have anything else to add on the Rachel Khaleesi thing.
Are you sure you don't? Just quickly, Brenty, take a look at that. I would like to hear your answer on. I just sent you something there. Yeah. So
Um,
I don't know. Did you see that? Did you see the?
no, I haven't seen it. So what
So
it says is Plumtree has his say on Khaleesi's big late call. John Plumtree admitted that the Sharks were their own worst enemies in the URC round 14 clash against Leinster at Kings Park. Oh yes. So I think before reading it, I'm sure I know what he's talking about. My wife was saying the same thing. So at the end, they had the last penalty, and
Yes.
It's for touch,
they
not for posts.
I agree
Yes.
100% with Khaleesi's decision there. So my wife also said, no. Let's kick for the post and let's level the score. No fucking ways you do that. You know, you're playing a C team Leinster. Drawing with them is like losing with to them. You know,
Exactly, yeah.
I agree with what Siya Khaleesi's call was. It's not his fault that they didn't score from that. It was a brilliant scoring platform for them, and the team just couldn't pull through. So I agree with his call. Then I even said it to my wife as well. Go for it. Go for the corner. Drawing to a C team Leinster team is losing to a C team Leinster team. So I agree with him completely.
Just one last thing that I want to add. I want to add upon you guys saying that it might be, or well, it is a coaching problem within some of our teams. This has to have a massive mental thing on a team when a coach is talking like this about his captain's choices in the game. He's not saying anything deliberately like stating that Khaleesi made a wrong decision.
No.
But he's also not saying that he is, he's fine with the decision. So there's definitely somewhere's a communication gap or somewhere's a problem within your coaching area, because your coach and your captain should be almost in sync. Correct me if I'm wrong.
To me, whether it was the right call or the wrong call doesn't matter. They shouldn't have left it to be a 3-point difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the 80th minute. You know, it's
Yeah, that should have never been a call that they needed to make.
100%. It should have been 30-point difference to Sharks. That's what everyone. If you look at the team on paper, that's what it should be. So, Plumtree can point the finger where he wants. At the end of the day, you've got a Springbok-laden team, and that team should be doing a lot better than what they're doing.
Yes, exactly. No, sorry, I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention.
So to end it off, just to add on that, I feel that not John Dobson, but him as well, but Plumtree, you haven't really achieved anything in your career, so once you've learned the difference between ketchup and applesauce, you can tell Siya Khaleesi how to captain, because he is a double World Cup winning captain.
There we go.
Okay, let's end it off on that then.
What an ending.
All right, cheers, guys.
See you Thursday. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.